Christmas stuff, Easter outfits, so they can go to school with some nice shoes and stuff too. So knowing that I was coming to be introduced to not only drugs, I didn't know anything about drugs. I was introduced to prostitution first. But I wasn't really introduced to prostitution first. I was introduced to prostitution early on.
What age?
Huh?
What age?
I say 5. Because when you get a house full of beer bottles and whiskey bottles, you got a house full of dirty old men. See, I try not to leave that out. Because that happens under a lot of roofs, but it don't be talked about. So this is where the child molestation starts, with a lot of young girls, and a lot of young boys. So I don't leave that out. So that's why I say my prostitution started there. So it's like now, what can I do for you to get some of that whiskey? That whiskey to numb me so I can make some money to do for my family. You understand what I'm saying? To kill the pain. So that right there was like, I was just born into that. My story of prostitution and drugs and crime is just a story. But then it was a survival kit for me. It was a survival kit for my family. I'm not going to let my mom be degraded anymore in none of these jobs. I don't care what I got to do. And I don't care what you call it. And that's just the thought I had at that time.
So, what happened after you entered the prostitution and hit the streets?
Well, I was taught by this older woman. And the older woman, she taught me well, so I was about ready. Well, I'm going to say I became good at it. And once I became good at it and mastered that skill so good, where I can learn to manipulate, not only make money, but I know how to manipulate people out of their money. So what became me was a whole new person. I no longer became Clemmie, I became Timmy. So that means I had 2 personalities that I had to shut down who I really were. The person that I were with the good heart and don't want to hurt nobody's feelings became the cold-hearted person that don't care nothing about you. And so in order for me to do that and survive and keep up with the big gang and the big dogs, then I had to become the big gang and the big dogs. And so I traveled. I traveled doing that. All the times I traveled, I left home. And so in order for me to leave home, it's because of my mom not knowing half the stuff that I was doing. She didn't need to know that. She didn't need to figure that. And about that time that I left for that, she done start drinking. So I got 2 parents now that just drunk. Where your mom at? Oh, she probably in there drunk. She ain't been up about 3 days. Where your dad at? There he go slumped on the couch. He drunk. You don't know what done happened all day long. So you don't have anything to come back to your parents with, but you got something to come back to your little siblings with. So once I left and became professional, I called myself an international hoe, because that's what I were. Traveling, your international hoe.
Travel across the country, out of the country?
I'm traveling across state to state. Yeah, and not knowing that women as themselves traveling, it was dangerous with the men and the predators out here and the perverts. It didn't hurt or help any that my brother, that's a year older than me, have already came on his part of pimping women's anyway. My brother and I are close, but he had his lifestyle, I had mine. But when we came back together, I found out that he'd already been pimping women's. He'd already had a slew of women that he had already been dealing with wherever he was at. So all that just came together. So I don't need a pimp. I just signed up with my brother and then follow the rest of them. And that's how all that started behind me and him. But I came back, got out of the gang. I felt like I hadn't made enough money. I didn't help my family enough. But it's never enough. You never made enough money, especially when they never come out of their depression. So what happened, I met a young man and I was 13, had sex with him, got pregnant. Out of all the tricks that I was having and no protected sex, this young man got me pregnant. Rather it was it for a bottle of beer? Was it for $5? Was it for schoolgirl crush? I don't know. You tell me. But I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant, I was pregnant with a boy. I went 9 months. Did I go 9 months still not tricking? Did I go 9 months still not drugging and drinking? No. It's just by the grace of God that this baby came out normal. So when I had the baby, which was April of '74, the only thing I did was gave the baby to my drunk parents. and hit the street. Kept going. I'm not gonna let a baby stop me. You remember, I'm institutionalized, I'm international, and I'm turned out to the fullest. So this is all I know. I'm going back, make me some money, you better take him. And this is what I did. And I hit the streets again. During this time, my brother and his women had got so good that I didn't too much have to hit the streets as much to making money because I became their babysitter. All the 13 women he had, they had babies too. I'm not thinking about my babies, I'm thinking about theirs. I'm keeping their babies in hotels, houses, wherever they pay me to stay at with them. But they paying me the drugs and all the habits that I got. So I don't have to have the prostitution. I can just have the guys that I want to just come and have the sex because I'm already paid in full with the kids. Feed the kids, put the kids to bed, make sure they ain't had